We've been focusing on silence all week, and I'm realizing that it's not just trying to not speak, certainly, because you could be speaking and your mind could still be rolling out of control. But it's even more than that. In fact, I realize that silence is going to express itself uniquely through each one of us. I've been being challenged back here in my anchor hold because I know that this is a time for me to be still, to be silent, to contemplate. And I'm making time in each part of my day for that, many times, short periods, a half hour, 45 minutes. But then I'm also feeling this gush of creativity, like I want to record a song, like God is so wonderful. And people will hear a song like that and think, what, did you spend 3 days working on that? As if it took me 2 hours. It's not that big of a deal. I'm very quick because I enter fully into it and express it and then set it aside. And I'm realizing that for me, much of the silence that I'm encountering is wanting to extend this experience and light that I have embraced and encounter through each one of you, through my devotion to the beloved. In so many ways, I can't even begin to express it, but it's been an interesting journey for me to, on one, almost as if I was a bit guilty that I wasn't just sitting in my room meditating all day, being silent. I realized that each one of us is going to express that in different ways. I don't know if that makes sense or not, but it's something that I've been feeling. And when I wrote that song yesterday, it just felt like such a celebration of that wonderful silence, that wonderful experience that's all around us. So I'm glad you enjoyed it. I could see all of you dancing and having fun. So we have a very short lesson today, but I think it's also very powerful. Let me share this, and then let me put my screen on so everybody can see me better. 1 second. Okay, here we go. Silence is the mother of your highest thoughts and the father of your most inspired actions. The mother of your highest thoughts and the father of your most inspired actions. They are forever united, just as I am forever united with you, perfectly balanced and whole. Silence is the ground upon which this marriage radiates and extends, though without concepts or words. They have fallen away and are no longer required to express the unity that is unchallenged by such passing dreams. Yes, I am that reality. And in the deepest chamber of your heart, we rest together, silently, not as two, but as a single extension of perfect light. I am waiting for you in the marriage chamber. Turn to me now and find your rest. I am waiting for you in the marriage chamber, where two become one, where we rest together. And in that silence, we discover reality itself. And that can be passionate, and that can also be still and calm, like a serene lake. For me, passion is such a gateway into the experience of unity and oneness. Just as love can be quiet or it can be passionate, it still is a unification, a uniting, an expression of pure love. So I think the lesson for me right now is not to judge that it should be this way or it should be that way, but to let it be however it is in every moment. There are going to be moments when it expresses itself in pure joy and pure extension. There are going to be other moments when it's very quiet and still. And to say it should be that means also that it shouldn't be something else. And in that moment, I've entered into judgment. And then even if my body and my mind are still, I'm resting in a place of that judgment. And that doesn't do me any good either. Why not just accept it and exactly as it is every moment? One moment singing and dancing, another moment still and quiet. I don't know. Those are just the thoughts that come to me here this morning. I would love to hear what the rest of you have to think about that. Let's begin with Vicki and Teddy. So Vicki, does that make sense at all?
Oh, yes, Jimmy, of course it makes perfect sense. The best thing, or the best summation you said right off the bat, that silence is a single focus. It's a single focus on who we are, on that reality, on that light, on that I am. It's a single focus on that. It's a single focus that doesn't waver and allows everything else to come. And then when there's a clear passage and there are no unconscious things that we're battling anymore, all there is the joy of however it is expressing in any situation, which is always a natural joining, whether it's a joining with the bugs and the trees or a brother. And sometimes it's up and dancing, and sometimes it's quiet and resting. And it is like a miraculous adventure. I was going to say mystery adventure, like a magical mystery tour, but there's no mystery in joy. It is unencumbered by an opposite. It is always a flow of peace. And we get there. We are living in this Christ consciousness, and we're experiencing it. And that maybe not 24/7, but a lot. And many of us, not just one or two, and not just in any one tradition. In every tradition that finds oneness at its core and focuses on that oneness. And we are just happy here, because here isn't about where we find ourselves externally. Here is that state of mind that knows its holiness. Simple, just knows its holiness, and then with wonder receives and looks at everything. And it is like being on a trip. Like Teddy and I were on a road trip for a few days, and it's like what life is. It's just all a happy adventure. And there's no care or concern except to let it unfold and enjoy it and share it. Enjoy it, share it, celebrate it. And that's it. He said it beautifully, and I love the song. God's so wonderful. Too wonderful.
Well, I knew you would like that song.
Oh, yeah.
And to me, that song, it sums up everything we're expressing today. God is just so wonderful. God is too wonderful. And if we just can rest in that and let it express itself however it needs to every moment, then silence is not just the absence of sound or even the absence of thought. Silence becomes something so much greater and grander than that. And it's wonderful, and it's passionate, and it's joy-filled. Why not go there? Why not be with that? Vicki, did we lose you? I think suddenly Vicki maybe hit the wrong button with her phone, with her finger. That's okay. She'll be back. Well, while we're waiting for Vicki to come back, maybe there's someone else here who would like to express how wonderful things are and how wonderful they are. Anybody here in the Zoom room want to share anything? Yes, Tambra, go right ahead.
Hi, Jimmy. Can't believe I'm talking again. That's amazing. But I just want to say that what you're doing, this creativity that you have, it's bubbling out of you, and it's so wonderful. But it's childlike. It's so good. It's like effortless. I feel this coming out of you like it's just bubbling. It's bubbling. And it makes me remember when I was a little girl, I always knew that I chose to be here. I told my mom when I was 2 years old, I chose you. I picked you. I just knew, And I remember as a kid sitting on the swing set and swinging and singing to God. I just sang to God all the time. Back before I knew that I needed a bucket to carry my tune, right? I thought I could sing back then. but I would just sing to God and make up all this stuff all the time. And I was very pious. I went to a Catholic school. And anyway, what you're doing now just takes me back and makes me, it's the devotional side, which we kind of forgot. Sometimes you get into another path and you know, I am this, I am in control, I am controlling my mind, I am, and you're doing this thing and you're trying to manifest and you know, whatever it is, different paths that take you different places. And I love that where you are now is really showing this devotional side, because it feels like coming home.
Yeah.
Right? And I just want to validate you and appreciate you and tell you that it's coming out. We're feeling it. And if I'm feeling it and we're feeling it, the world's going to feel it. So, amen.
Oh, thank you, dear. I'm glad you're feeling that, because that's what it is for me too. Devotion. Oh my, that's the key, to just be completely in love. That's all devotion is. To, you know, it's like the first time you ever fell in love. Do you remember what that felt like? You just couldn't stop thinking about that person. You wanted to be with them all the time. That's the love and the devotion, even greater than that, that we're called to express with love itself. With love itself, the source of all love. This is what all the great mystics have taught us from every tradition, that it's just about being fully devotional and in love with love itself. And yes, it's certainly opening up something in me, and I'm glad it's opening up something in you guys as well.
Mm-hmm.
And I see that Vicky and Teddy are back. Did you hit the wrong button there, Vicky, with your finger?
Yep.
I had a feeling that might have happened. So I know Teddy's there with you. Does Teddy want to express anything?
Go ahead, Teddy.
Well, you know, I'm listening to this, and one of the things I remember myself when I first sort of got into, you know, into like a discipline of, you know, quietness or however, or that being part of it, even like doing the lessons of the workbook. You know, one of the things I realized, like, you know, people will see you and, you know, we talk about like, oh yeah, half hour in silence. You know, it starts with a second. It starts with a minute. And for me, it was important to just take a period of time. Like, okay, today I'll sit for 5 minutes and just set this time aside and just dedicate it to, you know, not a half hour, just whatever I can do in that 5 minutes and accept what comes up and stop the resistance, because our minds are so used to thinking and trying to figure stuff out and yes to this and no to that. And we go through the day that way. And then we're asked, okay, well, Jimmy can sit in silence for an hour. How will I ever do that? Well, Jimmy started out with a minute. It didn't start out with an hour.
More like
It
30
starts out
seconds.
with exactly. It just starts out with like right now, I'm going to give myself the time to do that. And that's all it is. It's giving yourself the time, giving yourself the permission. And that starts to bring back the power to your mind, back the understanding of that power is in your mind. And you can make decisions as to how you would like the day to go. At first, it may be a minute or two. That's perfect. And that's why the lessons are written that way. You start out really short, then you go into these long lessons. Then by the end, your mind is being quieted. You're reading 2 short paragraphs, but you can sit there for 15 and 20 minutes because you've trained your mind in a systematic way to learn how to use a new tool, just the way you trained your mind in a systematic way to learn to use the tools of whatever your trade is. It takes that discipline, and it takes giving yourself the moment in time to do it. And that was important to me. Like, I don't have to be silent for an hour. I got to be silent right now for a couple seconds. That's it. Let's start there.
I actually think really short periods, and many of them, are better than sitting in silence for 1 hour during the day. And Joel Goldsmith, I know, talks a lot about this. Maybe Vicky, you can speak to that, because I know you know Joel better than I do. But Joel preaches just once an hour, just sit for a couple of minutes and just be still for a couple of minutes. Just do that consistently. That's going to have a lot more power than even, getting on top of yourself, like you were saying, like, oh, doggone it, I couldn't do it for an hour. Do it for 2 minutes, every hour. Sometimes I set my alarm to go off at the top of the hour just so I can sit for 30 seconds and just hold still for 30 seconds, but do it on a consistent basis. Vicki, you want to say anything about that?
I just want to say it works.
It's the decision. It's the decision and reclaiming the power of your mind and using it for a new purpose. And that's it. And it grows because it's the right thing to do and it feels good. That's it.
It feels good.
And it is experience.
Yep.
We can't read about it. We have to do it ourselves. And we help each other do it by example and by entrainment. Just like Chambra was saying, you're just busting out with such joy that it pulls us all into this devotional experience that's natural to us and natural to love, to just be so thankful and allow it to like gush up like this spring of water inside us. So thanks, Jimmy.
Give yourself the permission and give yourself a moment. That's it. And the moment will grow.
There you go. However it shows up.
Joy grows. That's it. Exactly. Acceptance.
This holy instant. That's it.
Yes. So anybody else in the Zoom room want to share anything before we move over to Namaste?
I do.
Who is that? Go right ahead.
Okay.
Oh, that was on the phone. Okay, go ahead. Who is that?
Judy.
Hi, Judy.
I'm not on the phone.
Oh, Judy, I see you now. Okay, there you are.
A number of years ago, the diocese closed our parish, and we did a 24-hour parishioners taking turns staying in the church. And I did just like you. I played these beautiful songs, and I just danced up and down the aisle. And then I done yoga, and then I was quiet, and it was beautiful. Just beautiful.
However it shows up, it's going to be unique and beautiful. Thank you, dear. Okay, yes, Lauren, go ahead.
Hi. I just want to say that what's come up for me doing this devotional is very interesting because it's for us. Doing this devotional to God and acknowledging God is for us because God doesn't need us to worship him. God is perfect and whole and complete and everything. Doesn't need us to be dancing around for him, but we do it for us. And for me, it's to stay in the peace of God. Because when I think about God, when I write songs about God, when I sing about God, when I read all of it, it's to maintain that inner peace, the peace of God. And it's not for really anybody else, but the fact that I'm doing it, that I'm getting into the peace of God and I'm getting into that lovely space where I'm just expressing love, then that's going to spread out to others because we're all connected, right? So it's for us. That's how I see it. And thank you for bringing us these songs. They're wonderful.
There's that word again, wonderful. And it's so true. We have to give up the idea that God needs anything from us, but we need everything from God. And we have to literally give up the idea of God, right? At least a God that's out there beyond us, outside of us, an entity. God is not an entity. You've probably heard me say this before, but I stopped believing in God a long time ago. I don't believe that there is a God. I believe in only God. That's all there is. And that's where my devotion goes, to the all that is, to the everything. And the everything is so wonderful because it is everything, not because it needs to do or be anything else. It's just what it is everything. And that is wonderful. And it is devotion that brings us into the heart of that. So I'm just going to keep on singing and keep on. I'm not going to force anything, but when a song comes through, I'm just going to let it rip. And I'll share it in the morning. All right, let's go to Namaste. Where are you?
Could I say something?
Yes, who was that? I thought that was your voice, Deborah. Go right ahead, dear.
Hi. I'm so glad I had a push today to come I was on the telephone, and then I decided to put myself on camera because I wanted to share. I am so grateful that you are in silence, because I have been, well, the experience has been the opposite. It has been as noisy in the head, and there's no silence when there's noise in the head of constantly fighting with. And I'm someone who used to spend 3 weeks every year in silence. And I had a very similar experience as you're describing. And it's been so frustrating that now here I am in silence, sort of, like I'm in my home by myself, and I can't seem to feel that. So today, when I was pushed to come, and listen to you and listen to the joy and the devotion, it was like, oh, when I used to be able to be so free, it was from this place of being solely happy how everything was instead of resisting. And so I feel like a light bulb went off this morning, that because I've been doing this dance of back and forth, and something shifted, and I wanted to share that. So thanks.
Oh, thank you, dear. And by the way, Deborah, you touched on something really important that I just want to illustrate. And that is the phrase, exactly as it is right now. Silence can only come into your mind when you accept everything exactly as it is. Because otherwise, if you're not accepting it, even if you're quiet, even if you're holding still, you're not really silent. You're still judging something, even if it's a background judgment, even if it's something that you really don't even notice. Unless you say exactly as it is right now. Right now I'm singing, right now I'm dancing, right now I'm sitting quiet. I can be silent no matter what, because I'm accepting things exactly as they are right now in this moment. I think that's one of the major keys to that ultimate silence that we're all seeking. Yes, go ahead, George. Thank you, Deborah.
I just wanted to state an experience of this, and that is to walk the labyrinth. When I lived in Albuquerque, my church, my Saints of Mine church, twice a year, they would move all the chairs out of the way and put down this huge cloth labyrinth that we would have 3 days to come and just in silence walk the labyrinth. And it was so peaceful and quiet to just start in the beginning and be connected to God and walk the whole labyrinth till you got into the middle and just stand there for a while and feel the oneness with God. And then come back out the way that you came in. And you would pass people by that were walking by, and it's just like you'd step to the side, person would walk by, you keep going. There was no talking, there was nothing, just total silence. So if anybody wants to experience that, walking the labyrinth is a cool way to do it.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you, George. All right, now we'll go to Namaste and see how you guys are doing. Oh, there we for some reason, your camera's not showing. Hold on, let me see if I can get you. Well, they were there. I don't know if they were there for a second. Now they're, okay, okay, there we are. I see you now. You're back. Okay, hi, everybody. Good morning. Good morning, Joy. Good morning, Susan. Good morning, everyone. Would anyone like to share anything this morning? Anyone? Yeah. Oh, yeah. Come on up, Damien. You want to come up close? Oh, you're just waving. No, you gotta be careful. If you wave, then I'm going to call on you and invite you to. Oh, here he comes. All right.
Well, what can I say? I think silence is one of those things where the more you do it, the more you realize there's so many things happening. I mean, within, without, but really it's just all within. It's all thoughts, you know. And that's the thing is, you know, our thoughts can lead us to very powerful things or very, you know, just low energy things. Very high energy, very low energy. And I think silence is one of those things that can really raise it up or bring it back down. And I think, James, that what you're doing is very, very powerful. I mean, I don't think there's anybody else in the world doing what you're doing right now. And I think that's just really amazing. Really, really amazing.
Thank you, brother.
I'm actually reading one of your books right now. It's Emissary of Light.
Ah, the first one. Okay.
Yeah. Yes, I'm reading that, and I think it's also very, very powerful book. And I'll let you know my thoughts on it once I'm done with it. But I just think it's really cool what you're doing.
Thank you, brother. Well, we're so grateful that you're here with us. No one shows up by accident. You're here.
No, I actually was just like waving, but whatever. I mean, I'm up here now, so thank you.
Thank you. And you are so right, brother. It's all in the mind. It's not what your body is doing or what you're saying, or it's in the everything. Everything is just in the mind. If we could just keep coming back to the source or the projector, this is what's projecting what I'm seeing and what I think is reality. And I can just hold still and let my mind be at peace, and everything else will be at peace.
Absolutely.
Hello.
Thank you, Dami.
Can I be heard without being seen?
Yeah, hold on one
Hello?
second, though. Yeah, hold on. I'll come to you in a moment. Anybody else there at Namaste want to share anything?
I do.
Yes, Susan, go right ahead.
Well, I recently went to the week-long convocation for Self-Realization Fellowship, which is Yogananda's organization that he formed when he was here. And my favorite part of it is the kirtans, which are 3 hours long, and it's singing, and then there are intervals in between that are quiet, meditative. And I was just reading recently about Om being in various instruments have that same sound, that basic sound of Om. And when we get going with the kirtan, I feel like I'm in this boat that's just skimming along in these waves. And it's like the waves are kind of like your exuberance, James. It's like bubbling along, you know? and so the energy is up, and then there's the silence. And it's just such a wonderful combination. So it's just so good to see your bubbly exuberance. I love living around that.
Well, and
I
I'm
also
sure.
go back to that picture of you that you showed one day, which was the boy, actually you were probably around 18 months or something. And you were leaning forward in your mother's arms, just like, I want to create something. And it's still there, that boy is still there.
That's true. I'll have to show the rest of you that picture one of these days. You're right. I'm maybe not even that old. I think I may not even be a year old in that picture. And you can just see in my eyes, like, yeah, I'm here. And then my brother is next to me like this.
Yeah.
Trying to figure it out. Thank you, dear. Thanks, everybody there.